Well, a brand new document dump from the House Judiciary Committee relating to Lev Parnas tonight. So how should we assess his claims? Let's talk about it with civil rights attorney Robert Patillo and the Daily Caller editorial director Vince Coglianese. Good to see you gentlemen tonight.
Thanks.
Okay, so here's something that Maggie Haberman had to say. She's with the New York Times, covers the White House, covers the president. Here's what she says about Lev Parnas and assessing him as a witness.
One of the hallmarks of the Trump era is that anybody who is oppositional to Trump gets instant credibility. We have seen it over and over again. Michael Avenatti, Cohen at various points, even when he was, admitting to lying to Congress at some point after he had pleaded guilty to other charges. It's important to just assess these facts on their own.
Jake Tapper over at CNN had something similar to say, like you guys are treating him like Teddy Roosevelt.
Yes.
So, Vince, what are we to make of him?
Yeah, well, finally, I think a couple of news anchors started admitting what should have been more obvious early on. I mean, you had Rachel Maddow and Anderson Cooper also conduct interviews with Lev Parnas and kind of treated him like everything he was saying was deeply credible. And I think the move that we're seeing right now is dependent on, is this guy against Trump? Because like 5 minutes ago, he was an untrustworthy kind of buffoonish figure in the Trump story. And now he's being treated as an unimpeachable source of wisdom. And that is entirely dependent on whether or not he's going against Trump, which he is at this case.
Yeah, and it's hard to know what to believe when somebody is under indictment and they have self-interest, Robert, obviously, in doing the best that they can to help the government or to make their situation better. It doesn't mean he's not telling the truth, but it means that you question the material he's presenting.
Our judicial system handles cases or issues like this every single day. It's not that difficult. You subpoena him, you depose him, and then you ask him questions at trial, and then you impeach his testimony with credible evidence. So if any statement that he says is untrue, then all the White House has to do is produce evidence to contradict it. So instead of fighting this out through Twitter, fighting this out through Rachel Maddow and Anderson Cooper, just call him as a witness at the impeachment trial, impeach him, and then we'll be done with it. So it's not that hard of a thing to figure out. We're doing a criminal, there were 10,000 criminal trials somewhere today where that exact thing happened. I don't know why we're acting as if this is some kind of novel event.
Well, that's precisely what he wants, though. He wants to be called before the Senate.
He says, why haven't they called me? I know everything. I have all the dirt.
Sure, and the reason that he would want that is because he is being prosecuted by the feds, and he's looking for an immunity deal. So this is exactly what he's looking to arrange.
But when you use the word impeach, just so people know, we're not talking about impeach in the sense of the president being impeached.
But testimonial.
Right. I mean, you can put a witness on the stand, find that they're not telling the truth about something, and it kind of wipes out everything else that they're saying.
Exactly. You put this entire issue to rest by you put him on the stand. He makes a statement which is untrue. You present evidence that demonstrates it's untrue, and then that one negates everything that he says. It puts a taint on everything that he says. And also, he will commit perjury, which will go on top of the other federal offenses that he's currently charged with.
You're kind of making it sound like it might actually be fun if they call him.
Yeah, there's no real argument against doing that. Instead of having these tweets and having these proclamations about him lying, just put a piece of paper in front of him.
And if he's telling the truth, then he will be able to back that up. This is what two former high-ranking DOJ officials wrote in the Washington Post as all of this was sort of trickling out, not tonight, but over the last couple of days with Parnas. They say, the documents help explain Trump's consistent push to bury the evidence against him. Let's see what else he's hiding in front of the Senate next week in a good old-fashioned American trial for all to see. But, Vince, this isn't your typical good old-fashioned American trial.
No, nothing about it is. And, in fact, if I could pull the lens out for a second on just how this is going within the context of the whole Trump presidency, this is like an ongoing Bugs Bunny cartoon where you have Elmer Fudd like constantly chasing yet another rabbit hole, and he sticks his gun down the rabbit hole, and he fires, and he ends up blasting his own pants off. It's like this happens over and over. Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels, Michael Cohen. I can name so many figures where this has happened, and this is the latest iteration of it. And what we get is like 72 hours, maybe an entire week of hysterical overreacting. And at the end of it, Trump's still president, and people forget this guy ever existed.
Well, and here is our own Trey Gowdy, former congressman and one of the best attorneys out there. Here's what he says about what he's seen so far of Parnas and how he would hold up as a witness.
Parnas gave 3 different answers to the same question about Mike Pence. His first answer is, I'm absolutely certain Pence knew about it. And then about 3 seconds later, he said, well, he had to have, right? And then the last answer was, well, it was possible. Those 3 answers don't do you well in a courtroom. They do great if you're writing headlines. They do not do well in a courtroom.
All right, so you think, Robert, they should actually take the chance and put him on the stand?
Trey Gowdy just said it, that the best thing, if you really believe, if President Trump really believes that this individual is lying, if the senators really believe that they're lying, put him on the stand, embarrass him, impeach him, make him perjure himself, and then lock him up. It's not going to benefit him any if he refuses to testify and defies a congressional subpoena. Unlike the president, who apparently thinks you do not have to reply to congressional subpoenas, you can arrest him for that. They'll have the marshals drag him in. So there really is no argument against having him testify unless you just simply don't want his testimony to be presented. I think that what we have in the American system, we don't have a star chamber. We have a apparatus of cross-examination, which is the greatest tool for discovering the truth. Cross-examine the hell out of him.
We got to leave it there, so quick.
Okay.
Quick.
I just think we don't have a star chamber unless it's in the House under Adam Schiff and the Intelligence Committee in the basement of the Congress. But beyond that, no star chambers.
Okay, we'll leave it right there. Gentlemen, great to have both of you with us Friday night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Shannon.